Yeah, once I go,
Okay.
Hello, family. It's Rosalind. So you know what that means. That means it's time for real talk now. Yes, yes. You know what? The devil was busy tonight. Yes, he was. He tried so hard to stop this program, but you know what? My God is good. We started a little late, but you know what? We still here. And tonight, what we're going to talk about the three stages of labor, your full spiritual potential. Yes, yes. Now, family, when we labor, it takes blood, it takes sweat, and sometimes it takes tears. But you know what? Our labor is productive. We are striving for specific things when we are laboring. Yes, we do. Now, my guest tonight is going to walk us through the steps that many of us need and the steps that she needed to take to begin her healing process, her labor steps, her labor pains. Yes. Her goal is her goal is to help and to motivate us so we all can walk in our true purpose. Mm, those steps, those steps that she's going to take us on have Christ at the helm because that is the only way. That's the only way for us to be victorious. Yes, it is. Now, family, tonight I want all of us to focus on Romans 8:28, which reads, and we know that all things, all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. Did you hear? I said his purpose and not our purpose. Don't get it twisted. We're not in control. Now, Letitia, what I want you to do, sweetheart, I want you to come on. I want you to take your time and I want you to teach and inspire us all.
Hi. Good evening, everybody. My name is Letitia Anderson, and we are literally about to step into the three stages of labor. I know that last year was a very hard year. We were all carrying some stuff we didn't know we were carrying. We began becoming impregnated with different ideas, concepts, and our purpose seemed to be trying to manifest at the same time. There was hardship. There was things going on that we didn't understand. We had different type of mood swings, all the things that come along with labor. But I need you to understand what it means to labor. I don't want you just to think about the pregnancy of labor. I want you to understand the definition of what labor is, because a lot of times we say a lot of stuff, but we don't understand what those things mean. And so we utilize a lot of words, but you can't speak those things that be not as though they were if you don't understand what you're speaking, if you don't understand how to make it manifest. You got to understand the mindset of a man is everything. So you must first understand what it means to labor. Labor, by definition, is work, period. Especially hard physical work. So I need you to understand that to labor, to get whatever it is that you're trying to get, to be to the next level, to get that next business idea, that next concept, this is going to take work. You say God is calling you to ministry. That's work. You got all these things that you are believing are lined up with your purpose, but you must understand that all of that equals work. What else is labor? Labor is to work hard and make a great effort. So a lot of times, we always say, faith without works is dead. When you understand that faith is work, when you understand that there must be labor in an act, you can always say, greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. But what does that really mean? Do you understand how to labor? Right? And so you have to understand that it's a physical or mental effort, especially when difficult or compulsory. Right? So there are certain things that are going to happen in life, certain things that's going to go on, and you're going to have to try to figure out, how in the world am I going to labor? How am I going to do this work? How am I going to be able to keep going forward and manifesting and doing all these things when I'm not even quite sure how to labor? What stage of labor am I in? So I had to kind of equate this to what it means to, like, when you get a prophecy, right? And the word is released, and you release the word. So it's like the seed goes forth, and then it impregnates, it lands, it connects with what it needs to connect to. And you've done everything that you desired to do, that you needed to do, all the things that you wanted to do as a person. You've nurtured it, you've fed it, you've done all those things that you can think of, like, wholeheartedly to do, but you're just trying to figure out, how am I going to labor? What does it mean to labor? What stage of labor am I in? There are 3 stages to labor. Okay, there is stage 1, which is early labor, and active labor. So because they're going to always kind of combine, they're going to always kind of collide. So early labor is early and active labor. Then there's the second stage, which is active labor. So you're going to go from early labor to active labor. And then the final stage of labor is the delivery of the placenta. So let me just give you these basic definitions, and then we're going to go from there. I was trying to share this stuff to different groups, but I got to do what I got to do now. Are you ready? So stage 1 is early labor and active labor. Early labor is the first stage of labor and birth occur when you begin to feel regular contractions, right? And we all know what contractions are, which cause the cervix, and they go into detail, to open because it has to soften. It realizes something in there that I have to get out, right? So the early stages of labor can be, sometimes your back might be hurting. And it's like when you finally understand your purpose, when it's time to manifest your purpose, when it's time to see the manifestations of your work and your labor, the manifestations of your faith. That's the early stages, but it don't feel good. Work is hard. Laboring is hard. That's something that nobody can't make that up for you. You got to be willing to do that for yourself. And so as the first stages is the longest stage of all stages. And when you try to understand your purpose, when you're trying to understand where God put you at, you got to understand that first stage, because we get excited. When I used to be in church all the time, and we used to get prophecies, and you're so excited about the connection of the seed and the egg. The releaser begins to give you something that you feel that you need to carry, right? And you're so excited because you're nurturing. You got the business idea, the business concept. Somebody told you you're going to be a prophet or an evangelist, or you're going to have a business. You've connected with that, and so you started nurturing it, and you started getting a little agitated. Right before you have a baby, they say you nest. You start nesting. You start trying to clean up because you're preparing for something to come. And no matter how many people go through labor, no matter how many people have babies, no one situation is exactly alike. All they can do is give you an outline. This here is an outline, because a lot of things can happen. Some of you may not experience the early labor contractions. They told me when I had my first kids that your first baby gonna take the longest. You're gonna be here about a good 7-8 hours just waiting to have the baby. I had all 3 of my kids in 3 hours. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm just giving you an outline. I just need you to understand where you're at and what it means to labor. Right? Because labor is, this is where I keep going. Labor is work. This is going to take work. The vision will take work. The promise will take work. For it to fulfill itself, it will take work. For the manifestations to do what they do, it is going to take work. I know 2020 was hard for a lot of people, and a lot of things happened. Life, death, birth of new, the passing away of things old, but you still had to labor. You still had to work. We had to reconfigure what we were going to do in these early stages. Some of us had businesses that we were starting and things that we wanted to see, and we were like, oh, it was about to start, and then boom, something happened. You felt the contractions. You knew it was coming. The doctor said you done dilated like 1-2 centimeters, and you like, yeah, this is it. And you like, you know how they have you breathing and you feeling it. You got the instructions and you got the business license and you did everything you were supposed to do. You went to school, you started class, and you sitting right there and you feel the pressure. And you're not even sure, okay, which way do I go next? Do I stay here? Do I go here? Do I go there? What is it that I'm supposed to be doing next? And as you begin to move forward and as you begin to do the things that you need to do, you realize that, I've been here for a long time. And you start to feel weary, you're sweating. You're not sure, you got pains all in your back and everything. And sometimes you get nervous, because what's this beeping and what does this monitor mean? And every now and then somebody come in and check on you and you got a support system. And that's one thing that you have to realize, because when you in labor, all the people that was at the baby shower, they can't be in the delivery room with you. All the people that was there that was giving the gifts and the congratulations, they can do it on the outside, but everybody's not equipped. Everybody does not have access to the delivery room. So you can have your coach and your doctor and your nurse, because the nurse is there for you, but then another nurse must come to help cater to what you're about to deliver. And they're preparing the room. You've went to school, you started the job, you started the careers, you've done everything that you needed to do. And now it's time, you're preparing for something. And you're waiting for the manifestations of it. And so what they start to tell you is that in those first couple of stages, you're able to talk, you're a little bit aggravated, you feel a little whatever. And then you got your little people in there with you and you're trying to figure out, what is it that I need to do? Which way do I need to go? How do I need to do this? And you're not even quite sure how none of this is going to play out. But you know that you're carrying something that has to be released. It's no more room there. You can't hide it anymore. It's time. It's coming, but it's painful. See, there are things that I had to go through that I wasn't prepared for. I didn't realize that I was equipping other people to have faith and believe God for all this stuff, not knowing that it was something brewing inside of me, not knowing that it was something brewing in there, not knowing that there were things that were about to happen that was taking place. And I wasn't sure how to articulate that in the first stages of my labor. And in the first stages, sometimes you could call your friends and be like, hey girl, I'm in labor, because it's cute now. And maybe your water broke, maybe you didn't. And you got your partner right there with you, who been there with you the whole time. And everybody that's important to you, they want to gather around. But you still don't know what's about to be delivered, right? So now you're in active labor. That means you've dilated anywhere between 5 to 10 centimeters, right? 10 mean that baby is coming. But now it's like, now you really don't want to be aggravated. And for most people, that's when they get the epidural and they get to go through all that little different stuff right there. Well, I didn't get epidural, so I didn't have that particular luxury. For none of my kids, I didn't have it. And so now you're like, wait a minute, what's happening? I'm in active labor, and the contractions, they getting stronger and they're getting harder and they're longer, because it's intensifying. That very thing that you kept believing God for, and it sounded nice. You're going to be a pastor. God said you're going to be a pastor. You're going to be an evangelist. You're going to have a business. You're going to be all this stuff. But you put the work in and you're thinking it's going to be smooth sailing. And what I'm telling you is, it is work. It is sweat. It is tears. And you still not quite sure how it's going to come out. And y'all got to see me, like I'm literally opening up my legs like I'm about to have a baby, right? And so you get yourself in position. And some of you, because you might be considered high risk, your baby might be a little bit early or earlier than what people was expecting. And you did everything right. You did what you were supposed to do. You prayed and you fasted, and it still may not have come out like you wanted to. And everything in the beginning, I had good pregnancy. I might have was sick a little bit, but this pain, nobody could prepare me for the pain that was in my back, the pain that was in my belly, the pain that felt like I wanted to throw up. I didn't want nobody to talk. Don't say nothing to me, okay, today. I don't want to hear it. All I know is that I feel something and it's coming. And the thing about being a mom and laboring and bringing forth the manifestation of a seed that connects with a purpose is that you still don't know what it's going to look like. You still don't know what it's going to smell like. You still don't know how it's going to operate. You don't know anything until it comes out. But while you're in active labor, and they're counting how many centimeters it is, right? How many they keep going in and checking, and they say you at 7 centimeters, and you get nervous, scared, excited, angry, all at the same time. It's a plethora of emotions. And now you realize that this very thing that I didn't think could do anything had the ability to create life, right? And it's like, okay, I see my business manifesting. I see my ministry coming to fruition. I see the purpose and the promises of the Father manifesting, but this hurts. And I'm trying to breathe how the people told me I'm supposed to breathe. And but that don't eliminate this pain that I feel, because what you about to birth, everything and how you're equipped said you're not supposed to birth it. That's the thing about labor. Labor exceeds what they say. You're only supposed to be able to house enough of pain without dying. Labor puts you there. Labor puts you in a position where you're close to death, because everything in you accelerates to push out a life. My purpose, my destiny, the very thing that I got prophecies concerning. Nobody warned me about the active labor. It was cute to do my Letitia lives in the morning when everybody was celebrating and congratulating me because I was able to do it. But in the midst of that, something happened, something shifted. And then I got some news in the midst of active labor. Maybe it felt like the heart rate drop. But for me, they told me I had a tumor on my brain. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm pushing out the purpose. I'm pushing out the promise. I'm watching it manifest. I see myself global. I see all of this stuff. And wait a minute, in the midst of active labor, you tell me that it's some more news I got to give you, but I still need you to push this baby out. And now you feel like you scared, like you by yourself, because you wasn't ready for that. You was not. What happens when the purpose and the fulfillment and the manifestation is shift? What happens when you're prepared for one thing and something else completely different happens? You prepared for one baby and the doctors is like, wait a minute, it's another baby coming. You've equipped yourself. You've started the business. You've done all the things that you felt like you needed and that you wanted to do. But now this hurts. During Corona 2020, many of you got pregnant with your purpose. Many of you started to see the things in your life manifest. You started to see those things really just kind of go to the next place, the next level, the next thing that you needed. And you're like, well, how in the world am I going to do this in all this turmoil? That's why I like the definition of labor. I like it because it says labor is to work hard and make a great effort. When you're laboring a purpose, when you're laboring your purpose, when you're laboring your promise, when you're walking in your purpose, you have to be intentional, deliberate, and on purpose. Every move you make has to be intentional. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I done been in every last one of these doggone stages, right? And it seemed like right when I get out of one, I'm in another stage. And I'm like, well, what is this? This is my purpose, because we believe when we get here, we're supposed to stop. But you know, after your purpose is manifested, and after you delivered the baby, and after you pushed out that seed, and after you see the thing come out, you realize it's an infantile stage. You can't just push it out and leave it. And then there's something else that I always think that gets me, and that's that stage 3. That's the delivery of the placenta. That's the stuff with the baby be in, and it's all the nutrients and the oils and the vitamins and stuff. But the thing about it is, if you don't deliver that as well, it will kill you. Now, I can see it in my head, and I need y'all to see it. Some of y'all trying to hold on to some stuff that you got to release, because if you don't, it will kill you. See, you delivered the baby, and you seen the umbilical cord, the baby out, and you really excited. And I'm telling you today, you have to release the placenta. You have to really, you got to let it out. You got to let it go, because if you don't, it will kill you. And what I've learned, what I'm learning is as the stages go on, right? As we go through the different stages, the 3 stages, and all that's manifesting, all the things that are starting to happen, what I'm realizing is that it's a cycle and it repeats itself. And no matter how prepared I think I am, I did my Letitia Lives. You know, I can always use myself as an example. And I was able to minister to people and tell people my testimony, and was able to do all of those things. Even as I got over different traumas in my life, no matter how I look at it, I still had to go through the 3 stages of labor. It's going to always be work. I'm sitting here right now and I tell people, call me Miracle Honey. That's my name. Because what happens while you're laboring and while you're working and you get something traumatic in the mix? I can't do nothing about it. The doctors can't do nothing about it. So we sit and we wait. But when you believe and understand the concept of labor, when you understand what it means to labor, I'm going to keep saying that. For me to get my business where it was, y'all, I have to labor. What people have no clue about is for 2 weeks, I was depressed. And when I say 2 weeks, I'm talking about 2 weeks ago. I was in the bed every day. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know how I was going to get out of it. I wanted to stop I didn't even know what I wanted to do with my business. I was aching because I didn't give myself time to grieve my tumor. I didn't give myself time to grieve all of my emotions. I got hit hard in November. So many times I didn't give myself time to calibrate myself. And then it came to me today, we got to rest. We've been equipped and conditioned to believe, especially as women, that no matter what it is, you keep going, sis. You don't push the baby out in the field. You done had the baby, but you got to get up and you got to keep working. And I'm telling you, you can't do that. When I realized that, man, I have a whole channel. I don't even talk about it as much. Man, I have this tumor. All the channel and the tumor, both of them I got in November, days apart from each other, both unexpected. And I'm thinking that was in November, but it all hit me 2 weeks ago. Actually, I think I've been battling with the depression since December. You know why? Because I didn't release everything I needed to release. I didn't let the afterbirth do what it needed to do. When it was time for me to let it all out and release Letitia Live and say, okay, it's going to do what it need to do, I held on to Letitia Live and everything that was connected to it because I was afraid of this new news I got. Oh, man. Some of us are so fearful and we're so afraid and we're so scared that we don't understand that each stage of laboring, the purpose and the promise of God, there's stages to it. And it's exciting. But it didn't start out that way. And no matter how hard I prepared, no matter how many classes I took to make sure I was certified, ain't nothing like when that baby came out. And I saw Letitia Live and I saw my life coaching, and some of us make the mistakes is that we try to keep what we've purposed, what we've pushed out in infancy stage. You can't do that. Because if you refuse to feed the vision, it'll die. If you refuse to feed the purpose, it'll die. And some of us are so excited about, I pushed the baby out. I went through all 3 stages. And here I have this toddler and I'm looking at it and it's fresh and it's mine. And me and the Father, we did our thing and he coached us. But if you don't feed the baby properly, it will die. And some of you keep trying to feed your vision and your passion with any and everything. You cannot do that because it'll die. And you can't let any and everybody, them old mothers, any and everybody can't feed you, and any and everybody can't feed your purpose because it'll die. And so today, like tonight, like I'm in this weird, like I feel like I'm in this weird thing because it's like so much is going on and I know what that means. I'm just trying to get it all together. So I'm going to come back like to the place where I'm at and let you guys know that in spite of where you're at, be it stage 1, stage 2, or stage 3, it's all a part of the process of labor. It don't always feel good. I honestly, real life, had 3 kids, no epidural. All 3 of my kids came the day I turned 38 weeks, and all 3 of my kids, I was in labor 3 hours, active to completion, 3 whole hours. But each kid was different. My middle kid, his heart rate dropped. My last baby, I had him at the doctor's office because I couldn't make it to the hospital. My first baby, he came out and he was crying tears, and babies don't cry tears. Each one has a different purpose. Each one is different. No matter how God gives it to you, some of your stuff, the visions, the purpose, they're going to come back to back because they're connected. But you got to be in position. Take the help, the doctors, the nurses, those that are there that are equipped, because everybody ain't equipped now. Those that are equipped to empower your purpose, your vision, your plan. Those that are equipped. See, the doctor, the OBGYN, after I have the baby, I don't need to see that one no more because I done had the baby. Now I go see my pediatrician. And then not only do I go, the baby go to the pediatrician, and then I go to my regular doctor. That's how this thing goes. Some of you done started your businesses. You've done everything that, and I keep hearing businesses. You've done everything that you need to do. You done got the paperwork, the state, you done all this kind of stuff. But now you got to graduate. And you got to get around people who are equipped to empower you. So I think that's it for right now. But I think if y'all got some questions, you got some questions you want to ask, how y'all want to do it?
I know what. These controls are going crazy here, okay? I hear everybody's like, praise them, girl, you gotta speak it.
See, I can't see any of that. I see nothing.
It is being, I mean, woo, ready, you are motivating people to start in their purpose. And the thing I like about what you're saying, this is for your spiritual life, your business life, anything that God has called you to do. You got to step into it.
You got to label.
And don't waste it. That cliche they said, what did you say? Use it or lose it or something to, I think you said something like that. But that's true. You have to, if God has called you to a point, you need to step into it. But not according to your will, we say again, according to his. Yep. And we had this conversation, Letitia, the other day, is that when God called you to do something, it's effortless. And it's going to do it. You're going to do what you got to do. And you kind of hit on it. You said you went through a little crisis. Now, I'm going to say little crisis, a crisis recently. But before that crisis, you had started doing what you do. Okay? Tell me at what point, what was it, that thing or a series of things, I guess, that caused you to live, and it was time for you to live in your purpose and stop playing? What was it? Was there one thing or a series of things?
Life. You know? It was life. Because I realized that there ain't no way that I'm going to go through hell and high water for nothing. Like, that didn't make sense to me. I realized that I had a story to tell. The word says that we're overcome by the words of our testimony. When you overcome something, I overcame it. That means it's behind me. That is because as long as it's in front of me, the molestation, the abuse, the low self-esteem, as long as it stayed in front of me, I had no power. I had no control. The minute I released it and I overcame it, it was behind me. Now you no longer have the authority to control me. When I realized that I had the ability to empower, see, anybody can encourage you. Not everybody is equipped to empower you. That's different. That through what I said, that I could literally empower. That means that I have the ability to, somebody can become stronger and more confident. They can gain control over their life and claim their rights simply by me releasing the word. Because words have power, we give them life. Words have life, we give them power. Either way you look at it, we won't like this. So there's no way I went through molestation. There's no way I went through bullying. There's no way I went through suicide. There's no way I went through all this stuff for naught. Some of us are, fear keeps us from telling our story. Fear is a paralyzer, and that joker is a master manipulator because it looks different. Fear keeps you stumbling. Faith gives you stepping stones. It could be the same exact situation. I was molested. Statistics say I should have been promiscuous. I should have did this. I should have had a whole bunch of kids. That's what statistics say. But faith said, not so. Does it mean I was strong every day? No, that's not what I said. What I said was, when I could have laid down and died, my purpose said, no, ma'am. Now you lay here for a little bit, but we got to get up. We got to get together. And when I realized that fear was manipulating me to keep my mouth closed, I had to learn how to use it. And then when I first started, I was crying. Every time I told my story, it was tears falling. But every tear freed me. And the further and further, I began to gain more control over the things that I had been through, that I had no control over. I couldn't control that I was molested. I couldn't control that I was in an abusive household, that my dad was I had no control over those things. And for so long, they controlled me. But when I released it, I overcame it. And now I control when you see it and when you don't. It's on me. So I hope that answered your question.
You answered their question and then some, okay? You even answered the next question, so I'm not even going to ask that one.
Okay.
Because you did it all, okay?
Okay.
The thing is, I noticed, and I can say this is because what I'm getting ready to say, I can relate to, and that's that strong personality, okay? I say that because when we have been called, and yes, I have accepted that God has put me in a position and I have to be humble to that position. With that, I've always had this strong personality, and I used to wonder like, why? But along with that strong personality, we have to continually humble ourselves in Christ. And we have to do that so that we can hear his voice and silence our voice. Amen. Now, can you relate to that? Because, like I said, I can see, girl.
Well,
you are a leader. You are definitely a leader, and you are walking in your purpose.
Honestly, I stayed in trouble because of this right here. My mouth. I just said whatever. The pastor be like, Letitia, you can't just tell the mother she a liar. And I was like, why I can't? Because she lied. Like, I didn't know how to hone it. I didn't know how to control it. And because you got a bad attitude. Well, I got a bad attitude because my daddy beat my mom up at home, but nobody want to take time to figure that out. I got a bad attitude because I'm molested, I'm violated, and I'm screaming for help. But it's translating that I'm not easy to get along with, that I'm mean, that I'm a bully. And then I started to hate that part of me, my mouth. And then I realized that as I got older, that's my tool. But listen, you have to be careful, like you said, because of this, I have the ability of life and death lies in my tongue. So if I'm here to help you, I don't want my tongue to stab you. I don't want my tongue to kill you. I don't want my tongue to murder you. So I had to learn how to, like you said, shush, speak, and I had to ask God to articulate it to me that way I can release it to somebody and not offend, not wound, and not murder. And I sat in a lot of positions where I was the one that was wounded, and I didn't like how the person said it to me, and I was the one that was murdered. Like the words, and I'm bleeding in front of them, and they had no compassion. And I remember thinking, if I ever get in this position, I don't want to do to them, to anybody else, what was done to me. And so I had to learn, if I didn't like how it felt when somebody did it to me, don't do it to nobody else. Now, it's an everyday, okay, let me work this out. It's every day. I work on this every day. And I'm 42, honey, and I'm working on it every day. But I love the fact that I have the ability to tell you the truth and not slice you up. That takes a gift. That takes God. I won't take no credit for that. That take God. And just really being open to that you don't know everything and you're not always right.
Yeah. And that's growth. Because I agree. Because my mom is on this forum listening on Facebook Live, and she's probably shaking her head. Yeah, she's probably, say hello, Estelle. And I know she's probably saying the same thing. Yeah, she could, girl. She's the same. Yeah. So, but it took growth, the same thing. No one could tell me. You have to come there on your own to realize just what you just said. If I don't want someone saying certain things to me, I can't say it to them because I know how I'm going to react. So don't get upset when you throw a dart and they throw one back at you.
Yep.
You know, so that's a lesson. Now, last question. Whom do you surround yourself with that hold you down, that keep your feet on the ground, keep you grounded, and that motivates you to continue to walk in your purpose? Because it's not always easy. And what I mean by that, as you're elevated,
that ego.
Sometimes that ego sometimes that ego get out of whack, and you start thinking because of you. Who does that for you? That holds you down and make sure.
When it's close like this, it's my husband, because he's the opposite of me. So my husband's the quiet one. He ain't gonna say much, but when he says some stuff, to hush your mouth. Like it's in a way that is not offensive, and I don't have to be in defensive mode. But then there's a team, and it's very few, and each person holds a position in my life where if I want one that's going to be direct and not sugarcoat nothing, then I have to literally contact her all the way in the Dominican, and we have a real conversation. If I need somebody to intercess and pray with me, then I have my girl Tamika up the street, and she's the one that God showed me this, Tisha, what's going on. But it's not a big crowd of people. It's like this. And I have learned the higher up you go, the smaller that circle gets, because then you learn how to be strategic. Everybody's not equipped to give you what you need on that level. It's like Jesus. He had 12 in his crew, but ain't but 3 of them go with him when he went to the next level. And even they couldn't do that by the time, because remember, them jokers was dying asleep. And then when he went off, it was a different set that was equipped to handle what he needed. It didn't mean that my friends didn't want to go with me. It don't mean that they don't want to go to the next level with me. It means as you grow, what you need change. And if this is a spiritual walk, everybody can't go with you there. It don't make you greater than them. It just means that now we at this place in the road where my relationship got us, we got where we needed to go. But you can't go no further than this. And then when you go to that next level, it wasn't but 3 of them. It was the 2 sons of Zebedee, I think, and John wasn't. They couldn't all go. He said, man, y'all want to do it, but y'all jokers sleep, right? When he went there, then it was the angels, right? He was talking to Elijah, I think. I can't even remember how it go. But they weren't even in the original 12. That's how you got to look at growth. The 12 was with him. Then from that 12, it was 3. Then from that 3, it was some other people that weren't even in the original 12. That's how shifting happens. Everybody not going. It don't mean they don't love you. It don't mean that, because that's how we get offended sometimes. I know this kind of sidebar, but that's how we get offended sometimes and angry with people. I mean, I've been there with you this whole time, and now you can't. No, they can't go with you. They don't have access. They don't have access to that. And when I learned that I can't require people to give me something that they're not equipped to give me, I don't get offended as much no more. It don't bother me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So really my husband, and it's about 2, maybe 3 people, and that's my girl Lokisha in the Dominican, my intercessor Tamika, and then I have one that if I just want to talk to somebody, and that's Nadia. But again, it shifts, like, and they've been with me forever, but it shifts because everybody can't go, and I realize it's going to be a time in this where they're not even going to be able to go with me.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing I need to say, thank you. I'm gonna say thank you first of all, but I just want us to touch again on how it was a few minutes ago before we got on this forum. I'm telling y'all, family, if it could happen, it did happen. Okay, even my picture, y'all see how I look like a red monster sitting up here. I didn't care because I had to switch computers at the last minute, couldn't get the tent right. But you know what? I was like, the devil is a liar. We're getting on here tonight. So that's why I look a little different up here, but I don't care. As long as y'all heard this message, that's all we were caring about. I mean, she couldn't find the link that we had sent. I mean, everything. You know what it is. What did you say? If it could go wrong,
It's going to go wrong.
It's going to go wrong. And you just go on and breathe and keep it moving. My heart was like beating. I was like, you know what? The devil's a liar. It's a liar right now. Because we getting up here. We was a little late, and I apologize for that, but it wasn't because we weren't trying. We had everything straight. But sometimes, you know what? You got to persevere even though. Say a prayer and let God do the rest. And that's what happened tonight, because it had nothing to do with us. Because if it had something to do with me, Ross would have been like, you know what, Letitia, we're going to have to do this the next time. This ain't what, That was not the answer, So I thank you. Now, Letitia, she is a life coach. I don't want to say that for you. I want you to tell your title.
So I am certified life coach, and I do empowerment. And sometimes it's like people say life coach so much and they don't know what that means, but anybody can encourage you. But I literally provide the proper tools, the proper resources, and a strategic plan of action. I can't do the work for you. I can't labor for you. I know how to coach you there. You ultimately get the results based off the labor and the work that you do. So I'm a certified life coach. I also do consulting, and I also do mentorship. But I am a life coach deep down. I was a life coach before I even knew what a life coach was.
That was just your role. I understand.
That was just my role.
Your role. Now, family, you can reach out to Letitia on Facebook at Letitia Live, okay? And her website, www.letitiaanderson.org. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm gonna say that again. www.letitiaanderson.org. Now, if you did not get all of that, you can always reach out to me to Facebook Live at Rosalind Green Price, or you can email me at inhim_forever@yahoo.com, or reach out to me on my website, inhim-forever.com. This has been a pleasure, girl. You had me, I don't even know if I was sitting on the seat all the way. That was just powerful. And like I said, you just had so many comments of, yes, that is right. You got a whole lot of comments. So what I'm gonna need you to do later on, when you go back, you'll be able to see all those comments and you can respond to those comments as well, because I know they would like it. I'm just telling them, yes, I got it, but they need to hear from the source if they have some questions, because I think it's some questions, but it was so many comments. You know how it strolled up, I couldn't even see.
And I can't see it. I don't see anything. Not even on my phone, I can't see nothing. So it's just me and you talking. That's it. That's all I see.
Yeah, so you go back later and you read those comments you got, and I hope that they will motivate you. And someone else, that was you that put it up there for the and she also on the webinar, she put her information there too, if you want to look in the chat section. Okay, Letitia, you stay right there. And family, that's it. I love y'all, and we'll see y'all next time.